Okay, welcome back to part 4 of the demo tutorials for the IGIS player inventory system. In this tutorial I wanted to cover some of the player inventory settings and features, as well as styling it and some of the things that you can accomplish with that. First thing you'll notice over here is I have this Necromancer GUI. This was a GUI skin that I downloaded from the asset store for free, I might add. A very nice skin, and props to the person that created that. So for now we're going to leave that there. We're not going to attach it. We're going to go to our third-person controller and let's start our game. And if we look back in his bag, we'll notice that we still have items from our last round of testing. And so one of the things, you could sit here and actually just destroy all of these if you wanted. But sometimes you forget to mark them as destroyable, and as well forget to mark them as droppable, and so the item will get stuck in your bag. So one of the things that you can do is, if you notice over here we have a save data file, and this gets created when it doesn't find it, and then it just uses it when it does find it. You can change that name through settings and such. But you could open this file and use any text editor to change the value to be true for if it's destroyable, and then restart your game and you'd be able to destroy it. Another option that you have, if you're not worried about what's in your bag and you just want it cleaned out, is you can go ahead and stop the game, and then if you click on your player and go to your player inventory script there, if you look down at the very bottom here, you'll see destroy inventory items on awake. And so if you check that box, when you start the game and the awake method is called, it's going to clear out your inventory for you. So usually what I do is I just stop it again, uncheck that box so that it doesn't happen the next time I start the game. And now I'm ready to go ahead and test some more items or do whatever I need to do. So that's one of the features that is available. That will not be called multiple starts or multiple times for one startup, since awake is only called once. And it also flips that bit to false so that it won't be called multiple times. So you could technically, if you just wanted it to destroy the items every single time you start the game, then you could go ahead and leave that checked. If you notice, we got a bunch of numbers down here, and most of these are just GUI window IDs, and basically this is how we handle what window can be on top of what other window and when. And so each of these needs to have a unique number. I've gone ahead and put them in here just in case your game has previously got a window already assigned to that ID or such. You'd be able to change this. Most people won't need to change those though. Then the next section up, you're going to see your inventory window recs, and these are all the recs for rectangles for the different windows and different pieces of windows. So like our title bar close button. So if you notice, you have a close button up in the top there. You can actually add one of those to your inventory window. By default, it's not enabled. You just need to add a texture to it for it to show up. And then this would allow you to control where that's displayed at in the inventory. So if you didn't want it up in the upper right, you could put it down in the bottom right, or bottom left, or right in the center, wherever you like. That same principle can be applied to most of these other windows. It's just learning which window you're messing with. So for instance, this is the inventory item command menu. So when I right click an item and I get that command menu, that's it right here. So if I wanted to change its size, I could. Now in some of these, like this specific one, the X and the Y, doesn't really do you any good to set them, because as soon as you move the window, they get changed anyways. So mostly they're to make the width and height available. Item information, when you mouse over them and such, here's your split inventory item prompt. So when you're prompting them to split an inventory item, or split a stack of them rather, this would be that prompt rect. So same thing goes through. You can read through those and figure the rest of those out. There's also documentation on the website. Now we get into these offsets, and these offsets are for your command window, and that's going to go ahead and give you the ability to change the size around the window edges, in some cases to help you fit GUI skins, or to match a background image or a style design that you'd like. I'll actually get to show you these in action a little bit later in the tutorial. If you move on up, we've got our confirmation message text here. These are the different confirmation texts that are available to be changed. Not everybody speaks English. Not everybody wants to word it the same way. So you can go ahead and those are made available for you to change if you'd like. Here we got the window text. Window text is typically what's displayed up in this upper left corner here in your window title bars. So you can set that different text here. So for these different confirm windows is what's set. Right above those we've got our command texts. Our command texts are those commands. Now just because you change the text of the command does not change the functionality. But perhaps instead of drop item you want to throw item on ground. Instead of equip item you might want to use don item or whatever, or another language or such. If you notice when we right clicked our window we didn't have a title text up there for the command window. That's because I left it blank. You can go ahead and say item commands or whatever you'd like in those windows. Same thing with these, just title texts. Now all of your buttons will share the same text for the OK and cancel, so if you apply this it will be applied across the board, but maybe you want to use affirmative or decline or whatever text you want. You can change it there. Here we got some more offsets for the main inventory window. We'll get into using these, especially with the Necromancer skin. You need to fine-tune these a little bit, but they do allow a bit of flexibility in how you can present the background images and such. Here we've got a checkbox for is the inventory window always open. So if this box is checked, then the I key will not toggle the inventory closed or open. It will always be open. This would be handy if you wanted to just mount your actual inventory to the part of the UI or such, then you could use this different options. Fade amount of the item being dragged, so when you're dragging an item around in your inventory bag, it's how much do you want to actually fade that icon. Here we've got our icon unlocks, so if we actually pick up our shield, we have our lock icon, and so you can actually change the width and height of that unlock icon and also the lock icon. So right now we're looking at a lock icon. Had we checked the show the unlock icon, then when we unlock icons it would be shown. So for example, we could change the width of that lock icon to be as wide as we need it to be to fit our different images or such. So if we wanted to actually lock it across the whole thing, we could do that. Here we've got the stack icon, so when we loot a stack of items, then we'll be able to show a little stack icon here. Sometimes you want to change the width of that or the height of that, so you'd be able to do that through your GUI here, and maybe stretch it across the whole bar. That's actually another one that we'd be using across, for the Necromancer GUI skin. So over here up above it we've got the slot tile settings. We've got width and height of the slot tiles. So we can change how wide those slot tiles are, and narrow as well. A little too wide for me. 64 is the default, so we'll just go ahead and put those back. Here you can change the texture for the locked and unlocked icon. By default I set these up if I don't find a texture. They're one of the textures that really do need to be shown to indicate whether the item is locked or not. Above those we've got some more textures. So here we've got the stack icon texture. So currently that box is empty, but if we assigned a texture to it, then we could display a texture to the background of that. Here we've got the title bar close button texture, as I was telling you. Currently you have to toggle with the I key to open and close your inventory. If you come in here and set a tile texture for that, then you'll notice that magically our little button to clear appears, and you can click that button to close the window. Still open it with the I. And then so we can actually, and if we go back down here now, we've got that width and height for the inventory item close window, or the rect, excuse me, inventory item title bar close button rect there. So we can actually go ahead and move that and place it over on the right. We could move it down to the bottom if we did, but you'd need to change the offset heights and width. So for now we're just going to leave it right there. We're going to be styling that again with the Necromancer GUI. Here we've got the empty slot background texture. So much like our stack icon here, we can assign a texture to the background of these different slots, especially when they're empty. So if you come in here, you can just cycle through and find whatever kind of image meets your fancy. And so for now, we'll just go with a nice bright green maybe. And with our nice bright green. So now we've got a background texture, and a background texture is actually the window texture in the background behind these buttons. So with this texture, it wouldn't actually make any sense to have one. So I'm going to turn those off for now just to demonstrate that. But if we go to our background texture, then we can come in here and set that, and that will go across the board. And you can try different textures until you get the look and feel. You can create your own textures and import them in here. You can do whatever you like with that to accomplish the look and feel that you'd like. Alright, and so then we get our number of inventory columns. So what I'm going to do is, if you notice, I did all of this with the game running, so when I stop it, we'll lose all our settings here. So now they're all back to normal. So I'm going to start it again. And then just to demonstrate the slot stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead, and typically when you start playing with the GUI style, you don't really want to do it with the items in here. You certainly can, but sometimes they'll get pushed off to the side depending on how crazy you get with the styles. So for now, I'll leave them in there just to show you what can happen. Say we had a big graphic, and maybe it was a little bit wider than this, and we wanted to put our game logo over here to the left. Then we could come into our inventory window offset left, and we could set that to have 200 pixels. And so now when we apply that background, that image logo would be hiding over here. Another technique that you could use is if you wanted to attach a window to here, there is some code functions that will give you this bottom left, upper right, and bottom right corner. And you can pin your UI to it, or you can actually pin this to it with code as well. Those are not done through the UI settings here though. So for now, we're going to go ahead and remove that and put it back to our default, and we'll go back up here, and I wanted to show you the number of columns and the number of inventory slots. So you can go ahead and increase the number of columns that your inventory bag will have. And then you can pick the configuration or arrangement that best suits your needs or game. You can go as few as you like, or you can go as many as you like. In the basic inventory version, you do not get the scrolling panels. That should be available in the extended version, so something to look forward to. But there's your 72 slot bag. It will handle actually having odd numbers and such, so we could do 2 of 4. So it'll handle pretty much any of the numbers you could throw at it. And for now, we're going to go back to the default of 20 and 20. Alright, for now I'm going to stop the tutorial here. In our next one, we're going to learn how to apply the Necromancer GUI skin to your player inventory, and the settings we need to change to make it look pretty dang good. Alright, thank you.